Question number one is, what's the difference between an esrog and a lemon?
I'd say about 150 bucks.
But to be more accurate, is this an esrog or is it a lemon?
And are they related, actually?
Looks the part.
The reason why I'm asking this question is because he doesn't
find Levi, he doesn't know if he can take his word.
Whenever we're looking for a esrog, so there's different, we'll call it different styles, different mahalchim, how to go about it. Okay, there's different styles how to go about it. So there's the brisket mahalach, then there's the Chassidus, the Hamish mahalach, and then there's the Litvish mahalach. The three different, schools of thought. How you go about looking for an esrog. Now, when I learned in brisket, I went to Salvation, and the first year I got there, I was broken in. I had to be broken in a little bit. So I come there and say, okay, where do you get an esrog? So they say, well, they look for something which is miyuchas, something which is for sure no traces of lemon in it. Because see, the problem is like this: esrog tree is very weak. It's very weak. And that's why it costs you so much. Is because they can make a whole orchard of esrog trees, and then over a short period of time, it goes. It's finished. It's over. It doesn't last. The trees don't last.
So the tree dies out?
The tree dies out. It's not strong. It's not a strong tree. The fruit aren't so good. They come out of it after a while. It's not a strong tree, so it's not a good investment. Even though you charge a lot of money for an esrog, but if you're going to have a whole orchard of it, it's not very good. So we're always worried about, which if a person's not worried about being Yotzei's mitzvah, what they'll do is they'll graft an esrog, they'll graft the esrog with the lemon, because a lemon is a very strong tree, and it's very similar, and they graft together very nicely. So if you have a little bit of lemon in there, it'll keep it strong, and you'll have a good, nice. First of all, come out nice esrogim.
What's similar besides the color?
I don't know. I'm not a
taste, maybe.
Arborist.
No, taste is different, right?
No,
Taste is different.
That is so smooth and not so bumpy. So where is the?
I'm not a, I don't know how to. I'm not a. Yeah, but
Does the
that's
esrog have any other use except for sukkahs? Like, is there a commercial use for it?
Line not, because it stays green.
Right.
Yeah, the commercial uses for a sukkahs.
Yeah,
It's no good and well. What kind of money they can make on it.
So how do you know it's not an esrog?
So this is the problem. Now to start it all off. So this is not a new problem. This is a problem the Achronim are talking about for years and years and years. And the question is which are murkav, which are not murkav, which are mixed. Is it kosher or not kosher? It's a big discussion. If you have a mixed breed between an esrog and a lemon, is it kosher or not? There's also a lot of Achronim written on it.
You Scheiner don't discuss it? It wasn't an issue by then?
It's discussed. It's discussed, but it's more at length in the tshuvas of the Achronim.
Okay.
Magen Avraham talks about it, and it's at length in the tshuvas, whether it's kosher at all, whether it depends how much esrog, how much lemon, whatever it is. It's definitely not something you want to get involved with. So the brisket mahalach is to find something which is number one, it's an esrog. Number two is how nice it is, but the first thing is an esrog. So I come there and they tell me at the time, go to a certain place, he's opening a box of Kfar Saba esrog. I never heard Kfar Saba esrog, but at that time, this goes back 20 years, that's an esrog. So okay, I go there, everybody's grabbing esrogim out of the box there, they open up a new box, I get one, it looks like round, like a lime with green, and I didn't know it was an esrog. This is an esrog. Oh, it's an esrog, okay. Yeah. So
it's grafted with a lime, not a.
So, anyways, I had a little. After I look at it later, I saw it had a little nick on it. It was made of a niklaf. The top layer was peeled off. Now the halach is, if the top layer, which is just the yellow, is peeled, that's fine. But if it gets a little into the white, the esrog is made out of a few layers. There's the yellow topping here, and then there's white underneath it. There's actually 3 layers, a little thin lines and that little thick, and then you have the white thickness underneath it, and then there's the chedri azer in between. A lemon has very little white and has a bigger area where the pulp is, but an esrog is much thicker in the white. But once you get past the outer layer, and it could be chasar, it could be it's missing. If esrog is chasar, you see it's possible on the first day. The other days Sukkot it's kosher. The question is if it's muhudah or not, but it's kosher. And it's after the first day. Rabbi Chanina matbel baby yochel. Rabbi Chanina dipped his esrog in and took a bite out of it after the first day, and then he used it for the he used his esrog in a nice bite hole there on the second day. Chassid is kosher. So, but on the first day, or on Chutz La'aretz, on the first and second day, it's problematic.
Muhudah is only required the first day?
No, you see, there's 2 psulim. There's a psul of hadar. We'll see about it. It's very important to differentiate. There's something which is hadar, has to be beauty, and that's possible all 7 days. If you have something that's not hadar, it's possible. It's a question if the pitum falls off, is it a chasar of hadar or chasar? If it's hadar, it's a psul all 7 days. If it's just chasar, chasar is a chasar of l'kicha tama. You have to take a whole l'kicha tama. If it's missing something, it's missing that l'kicha tama. That's possible only the first day or 2 days in Chutz La'aretz. It's a shaila.
Forgive me. What does l'kicha tama mean? Taking?
A whole taking, a complete taking. L'kach tem, l'kach tam. Tam is a whole. Has to be take a whole thing, not missing something. It's missing in your. Let's say I would take a lulav without an arava. That's not a l'kicha tama. I'm missing my arava. So if I take a lulav that's missing a piece of the esrog, that's missing a piece of the esrog, it's missing my l'kicha. That's only a psul by a deraisa, not by a derabanan. So first day is deraisa, the other days are derabanan.
So you'd be able to be derabanan, you'd be able to use something that's.
You can use it the second day, but psul hadar, something which is not hadar.
What's harder?
Hadar is beauty.
Okay.
Creates hadar, beautiful tree. Something that's not hadar, that's possible for 7 days.
Who decides what's beauty?
Chazal.
Chazal?
Now, so anyways, it was Niklaf. So I went, what do I do with it? I have my line, that's Niklaf. What do I do? So I went to line up by this mumcha. There was this old Yishalmi, there was a mumcha and a esrogim. So I go there in the morning, and he'll look at your esrog. So I go there, there's a line, I'm telling you, a line mamish, down the block. They had to go up the steps into his room. It was a whole Yerushalayim. So I'm waiting a line, a half hour, 45. By the time I finally get in there, he looks at it. He says he has to see it in the sunlight. By the time I got there, it was a little dark. Come back to me tomorrow morning.
Are you kidding?
So I said, tomorrow morning, I waited on line. He said, no, just cut in front of the whole line. They'll see me in the morning. So anyways, I felt my, all the air went out of me. I bought this brisk esrog that looked like, who knows, he has to look at it tomorrow morning in the sun. So I go down the shuk, in the shuk in Yerushalayim. It's full, who knows what. It's Erev Sukkot, mind you, now, from the next morning. It's Erev Sukkot. I go there, and everybody's selling esrogim, a dime a dozen now. Everybody's getting rid of it. So there's this beautiful esrog. Mamash looks like something that you can hang from your sukkah, for decoration. All waxed over. And take it, let me take it along also. 20 shekel I got it for.
Wow.
I bring it there, and this Rishalmi is all in his old brisker also. So I get online there, I'm waiting there. I come in, so he looks at the first one, he says, okay, it's kosher. I said, what about this? He says, it's from Kfar Chabad? I said, yeah, what's from Kfar Chabad? He really knew this Regim. Wow. So Kfar Chabad, he says, if it's an esrog, it's kosher. These are the briskers. They only take something which is has a yichus one generation to the next. So I did the Reb Chaim shtickle. Reb Chaim has a shtickle that if you have 2 esrogim, one which is vade kosher, but it's not muhudah, and one which is a suffix kosher and it's muhudah, you have 2 esrogim, right? So you come to Sukkot, you have 2 esrogim. One is a beautiful esrog, and it's not and it's muhudah. And one, but it might not be an esrog, it's a suffix, and one of them is not as muhudah, I don't know which one is which, but one of them is not as muhudah, but it's for sure kosher. So which one should you use on Sukkot?
So use the muhudah one the first day, and use the other one.
No, but maybe it's not kosher. So Chaim says, first take the. So Chaim says, make a bracha. First take the muhudah, because if you take the one that's not muhudah and the yoitza, You can only get one chance to do the mitzvah. Once you did the mitzvah, you were yaitza, and then it's too late afterwards. Now, once you shook lulav and esrog, you can shake 100 lulav and esrog. You're already yaitza the mitzvah the first time. It's too late. So he says, first take the lulav and esrog that's muhadar, make a bracha on it, then right away put it down and take the other esrog just in case you weren't yaitza, then you yaitza with the second one. So that's what I did. And when it was muhadar, he wasn't sure if it was an esrog. Take the brisker one that's an esrog.
That's we talked today before.
So that's a big shiloh if you bracha, if it's a hefsek taking in between, and the whole achronim talk about it. Anyways, that was my episode. But just bringing you into the sugya. So there's something called an esrog. You know, the people get the chazanish esrog, and what's chazanish? Chazanish is something which the chazanish used, and he, Beruach Kachay, he saw that this was an esrog, so they replanted his esrog a few times. That's chazanish, then you have kivalevich.
You just said that the one he planted, that died after.
That died, the Lefkowitz, that died, yeah. Yeah, the one he planted. He planted a Mordechai. He gave esrog to Michal Lefkowitz to plant. And he said he doesn't know anything about. We said it's hard to plant an esrog tree. He says he doesn't got the first clue how to, He says just plant it. So he planted in his backyard. I don't know how often he watered it. If he did water it, the tree gave esrogim mamish every single year. Really? Nice esrogim. They took his esrogim. They took branches from the tree. They made all pardesim out of Lefkowitz esrogim. But it's all one tree in his backyard. And he was nifted this year, and the tree died.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw an esrog from his tree 2 years ago. He sent him the money. He sent him an esrog, beautiful esrog. But the esrog, the stiple used to climb under the tree and look for esrog. He used to pick esrogim from the tree. He used to get. So I have tocha from the chazanish.
How old was the tree? How many years was this?
I don't know what it was in 1950s, 1960s. Quite a lot of years.
These are trees that don't usually last long.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's that. So the RC Modim had to tell if something's an esrog. If it has blites, bumps on it, over a lemon. If the skin again is thick, the white is thick. The seeds go
How
up
do you
and
know
down.
You can't tell if the white is thick.
Take a bite.
Afterwards, yeah.
Afterwards, you know
Check
if it's or not.
on the tree, but
You bite to see if you've been scanned.
if it's ukitz goes in, it goes in a little bit. It's shakua, goes in. See, it says by esrog, by a lemon it's out, but by esrog it goes in on the inside. The shakua is. This is rather hidden in the esrog that it should be shakua. The ukitz goes inside. It comes up nice and there's bumps, and then the seeds are up and down rather than horizontal, the vertical. The seeds inside.
Don't you have a chance, 50-50, for it to be either way, the seeds to be either way? The seeds could be like the esrog part of the graft of the...
No, so the truth is these are 4 simanim, but it's not a raya. You have esrogim which look like lemons, which are esrogim, and you have lemons that look like esrogim. It's not a raya either way. The kivalevich esrogim, which comes from the shul diskin, the seeds go the wrong way. So the place can say it's not a raya, it's just it's not 100% foolproof, because once it's murkev, anything can come out. So therefore it's not foolproof, but it's one of the simanim these are simanim that are given.
So, Bekisa, what are we supposed to look for?
So what are we supposed to look for after all this introduction? So the briskers look for take something that's kosher, and they worry about everything else, not the end of the world. The Hasidim, the Hamish shall look for a giddle. I wish I had a nice giddle here, but a giddle is something, these are not 100% perfect giddles. Symmetrical, very symmetrical. First of all, the pitim and the ukas should be lined up. It's not exactly lined up, it's a little off. This is also not lined up, it's quite a bit off. So this is not a good giddle. It should be lined up. The stem and the stem on the bottom and the pitum on the top should be lined up evenly.
I never saw like this.
What?
I never saw really straight.
They have a lot of them that are nice.
Yeah, and a lemon.
Lined up.
Oh, the lemon maybe it's straight. No, usually it's a little bit bent like this one.
Yeah, it's a little bit bent. Again, that's for a perfect hiddle, you know. And if he charges you too much and it's not straight, tell him it's not a good giddle, you need a cheaper price. But and symmetrical, you see, it's a little flat on this side, but if it's symmetrical even, coming up with bumps, that's a Scheiner giddle. Some even have a gartel on them, go around.
Gartel's better.
I don't know. Some people like a gartel, yeah.
I like it.
What would a gartel look like?
They have a few there.
It's easier to hold.
Right, I've seen the actual indentation.
But there's an indentation that goes around the middle.
Yeah.
Again, these things are just to make it look nicer, but...
Not really, it's easier to hold.
It's easier to hold.
but that's what the Hamish Shalom looks for first. The first thing they look for is a gidl. The Litvish Shalom, the first thing they look for, they don't care if it looks like a banana, as long as it's clean. Now, a clean esrog, we're going to discuss what the problems on the esrog could be.
Why are you using a magnifying glass the other day? Like looking like...
I'll explain. So what we're looking for in an esrog is...
So, I'm sorry, so when you're saying litfish look for, I missed
clean.
So clean, but everyone looks for clean, no?
Yeah, so Shiloh is...
What's number one?
What's number one? What's number two? What's number three? Understand? Because if you could end up with an esrog with a few spots on it, which is kosher, and you could have one that has a few spots that has a beautiful giddle, and you could have one that's totally clean that looks more like a banana. The litvish will take that one, and the Hamish will take that one. It's a different school of thought.
What the priorities are?
Because litvish are nervous that maybe this dot is black, and maybe you could see it, and maybe it's nirlei naim. We'll see soon. So they stay away from anything that has any issues. But otherwise, the pre harder has to be a beautiful pre harder. So
but only the briskers are most concerned that it's an esrog?
Well, they're also concerned. They take it to an extreme.
In terms of priorities.
They take
like the briskers that it's an esrog.
Right.
Litfish that it's clean.
Right.
Is the first priority.
My brother-in-law was a son-in-law by Yitzchak Soloveitchik, so he sent my father-in-law an esrog, and came in the mail. I don't know how it looked before he sent it, but after he got it, not in the mail, however he sent it, well, after he got it, he took it, it was a miyuches, this esrog, had all the yichus he could have, but a little spotted, and who knows what. He took it to the Rav said it's possible. But Rabbi Yitzchak Soloveitchik knows more halacha than any Rav here. I mean, I don't know, but he knows quite a bit, and he sent it. So,
Well,
so there's different schools of thought.
The dark spots can develop after the first day.
It could be they could develop. Yeah, they could develop.
And what is the priority for the Hasidic?
It'll be nice. It should be a nice esrog. It should be a gidul.
It's beauty.
So gidul is mamish at the top and the bottom are lined up.
Now the chaitim of the esrog, just so we should get this clear. The chaitim, the chaitim is a question where it starts. It starts with the nose. The hidur in the esrog is in the nose. The bottom doesn't have to be as clean, but the nose is where the ikar hidur is. So it's a shayla if it starts over here, if it starts over here, where it starts sloping, where it really starts sloping, different shitas, but where it starts sloping in, that's where the ikar is. That's where this is pretty flat, but this is, let's say, from over here. So where it starts sloping in, that's where the ikar hidur is. So that we want to be really clear. It's called a chaitim, the nose. So now you're looking over here. So now what could be possible on the esrog? So the first thing is a shinoi mara, something which has this discoloration. What's called a discoloration? So the different things that could be discolorations, but the general ones are black and white. A black spot or a white spot is a discoloration. A brown is the color of an esrog, although some browns are not. But generally speaking, a brown is the color of the esrog. A black and a white is a discoloration. Now, many times black could be a piece of dirt that's embedded in the esrog itself. The black could come from different places. So, you have to really know your stuff to know if it's a shinimara or not. But there are two criteria if you have, because there are quite common to have black spots in an esrog. These are brown spots here, but they're quite common to have a black spot. And
can you try and scratch this off?
No, it's not a good idea. Sometimes they take it off with a thing. If it's mamish on the surface, they could take it off with a
Q-tip.
Yeah, with a little wax. But if you try to get it off, you can make your esrog chasa, because you peel them up, and then besides the chasa problem, the esrog will die. The juices start coming out. It's not going to, in a day or two, the esrog will be gone. So now the Moshe, as you see, Meikra Adin, you'll check like this. In other words, if it's nearly 9 at this far, that's a spot we're worried about. If you have to look like this or under a glass, we're not worried about that spot. It has to be nearly 9 because it's a psul hodor. It has to look nice. If you look like this, it looks nice. That's fine. Now, there are a lot of black spots on this regim that you could even see from this far. And Rav Moshe held, and many places can hold like that, Meikra Adin, that since it's common in the esrog, the reason why the black spot was a shinimara because it wasn't common in the esrog, but the small black flecks are very common in the esrogim today, and Rabbi held that's not called a shinei mara, and one could be soymach on that mikra adin. Of course, if you're looking for a clean esrog, you're not going to take one that has a nice black spot punk around the nose that you could see. But Moshe held mikra adin, it's kosher.
Is the problem with discoloration if the discoloration is from exterior?
That's a very good question.
Or whether it's from the interior?
There are those that make a difference. That the only time the psul is if it's something that's spoiled from the esrog itself. That's a very good question. But Maisa, it's very hard to tell it's a small dot. It's very hard to tell what the cause is and what it's like and what it's from. Sometimes you can tell it's a piece of dirt.
There's no chazaka we can be.
It's very hard to know. Sometimes you could see, if you look closely with a magnifying, you can see if it's mamish the esrog that's black or it's a piece on it. So there are differences.
But if there's a piece on it, then is it still a problem? If it's not part of the esrog, but it's a piece that's sitting on it.
For a separate piece, it's nothing. But we'll see about a blettel soon. But if it's a separate piece, it's a piece of dirt usually. But if it's something that's part of the esrog itself, that's what you're looking for. In other words, you might see it, you might see the black dot, but you want to see exactly what it is. So you'll take a loop and see exactly, just to identify it better. But you look from this far, and some people will be more makbid on it. Some people will say, it's common in the esrog, so it's kosher. It's very hard to make an esrog really personal today.
Can't you tell how it comes off if you try to take it off?
It's very hard to get them off sometimes. Sometimes they come off. I was once looking at an esrog, also when you shoot back there in Brist. So we're looking at esrog, and this esrog is full of spots. There were a lot of little spots there. So I took it, and I wiped it off, and they all came right off. I said, I don't see any spots. This guy's looking, trying to find the spot around there. Some of them come right off, but a lot of them are quite embedded in. So that's the black spot. Now again, on the top part of the esrog, one spot, black spot, if it's a shinei mara, or white spots, if it's a shinei mara, is possible. Under the chayta, the rule is like this. You have to have 3 over roiv of the esrog. Now there's a shayla what's called roiv. And Mishabura holds if you have 1 over here, 1 over here, 1 over here, that if you put a line and you attach it, it goes around roiv of the circumference, that's possible, according to Mishabura. Chazanish held that that's still kosher. You have to have like a triangle. 3 in a triangle, that if you fill it, you make a triangle and you color it in, you get roiv. Otherwise it's going to be kosher. That's the Chazanish.
So if there's 3 dots together, it's not a problem.
3 dots together on the bottom is not a problem. It's for more spread apart. It's a common mistake people make. People think they're all next to each other. It's worse because it's more noticeable. But the truth is, it's better if it's next to each other because it doesn't cover over the esrog. If it's spread out, it's a bigger problem.
And 3 tiny ones are worse than 1 big one.
Yeah, so 3 tiny ones could be worse. But again, the tiny ones anyways were saying mikra adin are kosher. So 1 big one could be worse because that really takes away from the hiddur. If you have a big black dot that's quite large, I would stay away from that esrog, no matter where it is. It's just not nice.
Sometimes it looks like a wooden spot.
We'll get to that. That's called a blet. So that's the first thing, a shinei mara. Spot on the esrog itself. The second thing is a chazazis. A chazazis is very not common today. We don't know clear exactly what it is either, but it's like a wart or something that grows on the esrog. It has the same rule as a shinei mara. It's on top 1 is possible, on the bottom 3, same rule. It's very uncommon today, except when we get to the blettel. A blettel is very common on the esrogim. See if we can find one here, pass it around here.
The chazazis is the same color as the esrog.
It could be, it could be the same color, but it's a wart that grows out. Sometimes you have an esrog with like a bump that sticks out.
Yeah.
And the question is that the esrog itself, or is that called a chazazis? But it's not clear what it is. But yeah, I'll pass it around. This is a blettel over here.
Possible?
What's better, if it's part or if it's which is better?
Again?
Which is better, if it's part of the esrog or if it's a separate?
If it's a part of the esrog itself, it could be it's not a chazazis. It could be it's an esrog, but here I'll pass it around. This is what we call a blettel. Now there are different kinds of blettels.
That's what happens.
This is what happens. This is what we call a blettel. But it's right over
Like
here.
a wooden color.
A blettel can happen from many different things. I don't know. See if there's another one here. But they're very small. There's a little scratch. So here's another one which could be a blettel. It's a small one.
So blettel comes from what? What does it come from?
So blettel could come.
Is it a scratch?
Now I see.
There are different kinds of blettels. There's a blettel that comes from.
Oh wow. So
blettel could come from. There's actually at the time it was growing on the tree. Time is growing a tree, a leaf, or a thorn stuck into it, and there are different kinds. It could be one that actually became chasser on the tree, and it grew a scab over it, like if someone gets a scab. So those kind of blettels, which is very possible that one is like that, that first one is like that. So then you have to be certain that it was fully covered over, because a chasar is puzzle, even if it was chasar on the tree. But if it's fully scabbed over, that's kosher. Sometimes it gets scabbed over just with a white film you can see on top. That's enough. That's kosher if it's fully closed over. So a blettel which is fully closed over, that's fine.
That would not be this, though.
If it's not fully covered, then it's a chasar.
Can you see it if it's covered?
Is that considered closed?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Now sometimes it comes from a scratch, the same idea.
But this one's different.
That was like a little bit of a scratch, which is also okay. It's just scratch the surface and it comes over. Sometimes it's actually the worms that crawl across the esrog and leave a little
Calling cards.
yeah, leave something on it. And leave something on it.
The scab is not completely covered.
Should you stay away?
Yeah.
No, we'll get to it in a second. And the third type of blettel is actually from the juice of the esrog itself comes out. The mitz comes out and it makes different kinds of blettels. The shaila is what's the halacha with them. So there's a lot of discussion in the poskim. So the question is like this: why should it not be good? It's not a shinimar; it's common on the esrog. As long as it's not still missing anything. The only issue is it called a chazazis? Because sometimes these are flush with the esrog, but sometimes they're actually quite bumpy. If you feel it, you could feel the wooden part going bump over. And the question is that called a chazazis? And there were those that held it is considered a chazazis, and some people will stay away from the esrogim that have a blettel that are higher up. Halacha l'maisa, the olam is mekel on it, and they consider it not considered an issue at all. And when you ask someone, what's this, and tells you it's just a blettel, that's what he means. It's just a blettel. You're not going to have a clean esrog without a blettel on it.
This little tiny.
Yeah, there's another one up here. There's another one up here, which I'm not even sure what it is.
Scratch without a color.
Discoloration, yes. So that's the blettel. Those are very common in the esrogim. Again, the cleaner the esrog is.
Even when it's on top?
What?
Even when it's bechoitim?
I wonder if this is chasser.
This is what I don't understand. If you have to look that closely, you got to use a magnifying.
I just want to see if it's chasser.
Yeah.
Well,
Chasser mash. But that's a blettel. So blettels are all over the esrogim. You're going to find them. Again, the cleaner the top is, the nicer the esrog is. If you have on the bottom, of course you're going to have on the bottom. It's an esrog. The cleaner the top is nice, and it's a blettel again. If it's tiny, who cares? If it's mamish a little bigger, so it takes a
scratch. Doesn't it matter how deep the scratch is?
Again, if it's covered over, it got covered over, scabbed over, that's fine.
Is this
So
one
if
covered
there's
over?
Yeah.
if there's a blettel in about skotim, then it's still okay?
Yeah.
A blettel is not
Blettel
an
is
issue.
fine. Yeah.
So if you have that scratch, I thought so long as it only kind of cuts into the surface and doesn't go into the white, that's okay, I thought, no?
Yeah, but you won't know how deep this cut is.
So
Once you have a cut, it's very hard to
But the
tell.
color of a blettel
I
is...
told you, I have 45 minutes online for him to tell. It's very hard to tell if it's got into
So it's
the...
almost impossible.
It's like one of
to get
these
a little
things
one,
that...
right?
So you should stay
now,
away
a
from
suffix
How
chasar...
much bittul Torah is allowed to choose an esrog?
I'll tell you in a minute.
It's almost impossible.
I'll tell you in a minute, but
A blettel by definition is not white or black, right?
it's usually brownish color that...
Which is not considered coloration.
it's not a shinimai. That's right. That's correct.
You have an arrow,
Many times you have a thing which is a suffix chasar. A suffix chasar, since it's only a mashu, is machlokes in the Gemara if it has to be an isser size, if it has to be an isser chasar, or if it has to be or a mashu is possible. So if you have a suffix, if it's chasar, you can't tell how deep it went in. So on the second day Yom Tif, you could take it. You could take a suffix chasar on the second day Yom Tif. There's no issue in that. I mean, there is an issue, but it's a sveka anyways. If you're taking it on the first day Yom Tov, you should stay away from it. If you're not sure if it's missing, you can't tell how deep the scratch goes. So that's the. Now, what you were saying, how long you should spend? I'll just tell you. I was learning by Rav David Soloveitchik, and he was upset. All the briskers, they're running away. This is by Rosh Hashanah and Kippur time. Everybody's running, looking for the law from the striking, and he was all annoyed that they're not in base medrash learning. Instead, they're running around. So he started off the shir, mamash screaming and yelling at the olam. It's the middle of El. It's the middle. How could you're supposed to do tshuva? You're sitting there, there's a lot of Torah running around looking for lulav and esrog. How could Mama? She gave it to us over the head. Okay. Anyways, the next morning we're walking into morning side. He's sitting there by the door. You have already a lulav and esrog. So how can you count? So there's a balance there.
Unclear balance, that's for sure.
So when you're looking on etrog, you want one with the bumps or one smooth
If
one?
it has bumps, that's a hitter. That's a hitter if it has bumps.
Bumps or hitter?
Bumps, again, it depends what you're looking. If you're more from the Litvish school of thought, you're looking for clean. Clean, that's what you want. The secondary is bumps and all that stuff. If you're more the Hamish signs, the bumps to bleed, it's not going to make more of a difference to you. So those are the two schools of thought. Clean, make sure your esrog is kosher, and I don't care about everything else. Or the beauty of the esrog, if you doubt something, it's not going to bother anybody.
No, but I'm not talking dots, but like this kind of like...
These are bumps, yeah.
These are bumps, yeah.
The main thing is don't let anybody get too close to your esrog. That's all.
So again, the psul and esrog shini marif is a discoloration. The discoloration makes it possible. We'll start 9:30. We'll start. So 9:30. We'll start with the lulav soon. So the item that came 9:30. But there's discoloration. Again, if it's a discoloration is harder, that's possible all 7 days. If it's mamish black or if there's mamish white, that's possible all 7 days. If it's chosar, it's missing a little bit. That's only the first day possible. The rest of the days is kosher. And then a chazaz, which is not too common.
Is any logic, like you see, because it's money, 150, 250, 350.
Yeah.
If you see blettel, how much worth blettel to take it off from the price? Or
there's a lot of blettel covering over the whole thing. You tell me, what are you charging me 150 for this thing? It looks like it's covered all over. You bargain with the guy.
No, but it has some logic or it's no logic. It's
what they price?
The price.
Yeah, the price.
There is some logic, but the problem is like this: when they look through their esrogim, they do bulk, so many at once. So you have some beautiful esrogim getting into the chinuch sets, and you have some horrible ones getting into the 150 price ones. It's just you do so many so fast. There's the pricing, and then everybody has a different style how to look. So you think it looks horrible, the next day it looks nice. So the pricing, you can look through the cheaper esrogim and find the beautiful one, and you look through the expensive one and find bad. That's how it goes.
What about green?
Yorik Akarti is possible. Totally Yorik. Totally green is possible. The question is, what's called Yorik Akarti? I know Rabbi Miller doesn't like all these pure green esrogim because of that, but most of the world is makel on it because it's already the color and it's something which is going to turn to yellow. It's not Yorik Akarti is something like real dark green.
Doesn't like it because it might not be an esrog?
No. It's a psul. It's a shini mara. If it's mamish dark green, even if there would be it's a shayla if it's a shini mara or if it's possible because it's not ripe.
If it's partially, is that a chisaron in hidur if it's partially green? I mean it's kosher, right? But is it better to get all yellow? Because some of the most expensive esrogim are partially green.
Yeah, the beautiful esrogim. There's also some green in it. This is not really.
Half and half, let's say.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as it's not a dark, like almost a blackish green. That's a problem.
It's not a chisaron in hidur.
It's not a chisaron.
So it's preferable yellow or yellow-green?
No.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Some people look for yellow. I'll tell you one thing. You have a yellow, it might be brown by the end of Sukkot. If you have something a little more green, there's a chance it'll stay fresher by the end.
Why is that color a problem? It's a color of the esrog. If it was pink, it would be a problem.
It's a dark green. Dark green.
It might not be. If you verify it's an esrog.
It's not ripe yet. It's not ripe.
It's not ripe. That's all right.
So that's it. So that basically covers what you're looking for in an esrog. Of course, there are other issues, but that basically covers what you're looking for in an esrog. Is the spots, the chosar missing, and the blettlach we discussed. The other things that come up are not as common.
Without a pitum, how do you know if it's
pitum? I'm sorry, that's what I forgot. The pitum, big pitum question.
Moroccan goes.
A lot of esrogim grow like this. Esrogim come on a tree. If you ever see the books, pictures, when it starts growing, the pitum is just as big as the esrog when it buds. First grows the pitum, a huge pitum, and the little esrog, and then it starts growing. Now what happens is, in many esrogim, it's weak. Again, we said the whole esrog tree is weak, and it starts stinging, and the pitum falls. In the middle of growing, it falls off. There's some that fall off right in the beginning. There's some that fall off when it's in the middle of growing. And there's some that manage to stay on till the very end. That's your pitum here. So there's nothing wrong. There's some that's a hitter to have a pitum. But there's nothing wrong with the esrog without a pitim if it came off. The best is if it started growing without a pitim. That's not a son at all. If it started growing and in the middle of it fell off, you could tell. You could tell if it fell off in the middle or not. Some don't like it, but mikra din, that's also kosher. You could tell it has like a little ring around it. You could tell it comes up. You could tell
It should have
when
a ring,
the pitim fell off.
It should have a ring around it.
If it goes in, has a like a, you could tell if an esrog fell off after. If esrog fell off after the pitim, fell off after, you could see it's very fresh white, or it starts getting black. You could tell if the pitim fell off afterwards. Usually. Now it's important to know that all the stories about people who brought this beautiful esrogim and the pitim fell off. It's important to know that if the pitim does fall off, there are two parts to the pitim. There's a shashanta on top, the ball, and then there's a stem. If the shashanta falls off, it's kosher. If the stem comes off, if the stem falls off and there's still a little sticking up, it's kosher. The Mishabura says that it's still, if you have another esrog, you should take another esrog. It's kosher, but it's still kosher. If not on the second day, was no psul chaser.
First day?
Even the first day, it's kosher. If it's still sticking up, if it's still from the stem sticking up, it's kosher. You should take another esrog if you have another one. If you don't have another one, it's kosher. You can make a bracha on it.
It's all gone.
You can give it to your son. Could make it. If the whole pitim stem is off, then that's a problem. The whole pitim is off, flush with the esrog itself. That's a problem. Now there is a shita that holds that these esrogim, you see the stem is actually the flesh of the esrog itself. It's the same color. It's the flesh, so it has a din of the esrog. It's a chiddush, but he holds that it's considered kosher. I think it's a kaf chaim. He holds it's considered the esrog itself, and therefore, if this stem would break, it would be chaser right away, because that's the esrog. The other esrogim have a stem that's black, that's brown, that's actually like a stem. So that's a pitim. But if it comes from the esrog itself, there's something on machmer. Nafkamina would be also, let's say you have very common to have dots on the stem. Let's say you have a nice black dot there right on the stem. Oh, so let's say you have a black dot right on the stem. So is that considered your esrog or not? It's on the chaytim. So some will say no, it's a pitim. It's not the esrog, and therefore it's kosher. And there's a big svara to that. According to this kavachayim, if it's the flesh color, maybe it's considered the esrog. So it's it's better without a spot, but again it's kosher. Anyways, the spots are kosher, we said, but it's kosher because mikra adin is the pitim, it's not the esrog itself. Someone says a svara, very geschmack svara, you have that. How could a black dot be puzzle on the pitim? That is what you're saying. I could just take it off. All right, close your eyes, take it off here, no black spot anymore. We said that if you take off the pitim,
if it's stanging, it's fine.
It's still fine, as long as you have a little of this pitim sticking up, it's kosher, right? So I could cut off the top of the pitim with the black spot, and I have a kosher aspect. So how can the black spot make it puzzle if it's kosher anyways? It's a rival story.
Pitim surgery.
That's but that's the esrog.
For the ownership, I have to own it.
First day you have to own it.
If I borrow from someone, if I take from, you have to.
Yeah, but it's stam das mikra din is enough. When he gives it to you, he's giving you a das that you should be able to see a mitzvah. It's like a talis. You give it to your friend. You don't say be kind and he's kind. And a das that he should be able to the mitzvah. It's enough. But the best thing is to speak it out. Okay, that's the esrog. Any questions on the esrog? Whoever wants to leave, it's late. I know everyone wants to leave. We'll start the next part of the lulav.